Okay, buckle up because this is bonkers. Notebook LM by Google just released, and you can feed them in a document, and it makes a podcast about it with voices to people discussing it. So as one does, I fed in a short story, and it liked that, and it missed a lot of what I was going for, but it liked it, so I'm happy. Next, I fed in something where I'm trying to explain the options a man has in today's world, and those are not politically correct, and they tore me apart. They had She had a strong opinion. I'm not mad about this. I'm fascinated genuinely about this because I've never had an AI judge me before. And it is so amazingly formulaic in the way it takes the ideas and knocks them down. I've been in these kind of conversations before. So what do you think? Here it is. And at the end, I'll do a little recap of what I was trying to say. Tell me what you think. Bye.
It seems like every day there's a whole new wave of relationship advice crashing onto the shore. Do this, don't do that. He needs this, she wants that.
Yeah.
Kind of makes your head spin, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like everyone's suddenly an expert telling you the right way to find a partner.
Right. So we're diving into one of those expert opinions today. And buckle up because this one's a doozy. Is this excerpt someone sent over about, well, finding a partner, but it goes deep, real deep into this whole idea of men struggling in like the modern dating landscape.
Sounds familiar. This crisis narrative seems to be popping up everywhere these days.
Yeah, and this excerpt really leans into it, basically saying that society is changing, women are gaining more power, which, hey, awesome, but then it kind of implies that men are, I don't know, getting left behind in the dust.
Framing it as a competition, I see.
Yeah, a little bit. And get this, the solutions it offers are wild. Like option one, men should just give up, throw in the towel altogether.
Oh, that's helpful. Very constructive.
Right. Option two, surrender. Basically, become whatever you think women want you to be.
Yikes. No room for individuality in that one.
Nope. And finally, option three, drum roll. Please become more valuable.
Ah, yes, because we're all just commodities in the relationship marketplace, right? Where's the value in authenticity, emotional connection, and all that good stuff?
Exactly. This whole excerpt has this weird transactional vibe to it, like relationships are some kind of business deal.
And that kind of thinking just completely misses the point of what a healthy, fulfilling relationship is all about.
Okay, but this whole value thing, it keeps coming up in the excerpt. So specifically, this idea that men need to be more valuable, often in a very traditional, kind of old school way.
It's interesting, right? Because it assumes that there's one definition of value, usually tied to things like financial success, physical strength, or being the protector, those classic stereotypical masculine traits.
Yeah, and it ignores the fact that everyone brings different things to the table in a relationship.
Exactly. Someone might be an amazing listener or incredibly supportive or have a wicked sense of humor. Those qualities are valuable too.
So it's less about conforming to this predetermined checklist and more about finding someone who values what you bring to the table authentically.
100%. It's about compatibility, shared values, and appreciating each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Makes you wonder who even wrote this relationship rule book anyway, right?
Right. It's like it was written decades ago and someone forgot to update it.
And speaking of outdated ideas, the excerpt then goes on this whole tangent about matriarchal versus patriarchal societies. Like those are the only two options, and relationships are doomed unless you pick the right side.
Ah, yes. Because reducing complex societal structures to a simple binary is always helpful, right?
Yeah. It ignores the fact that societies are incredibly diverse, with tons of different cultural norms and expectations around relationships.
Right. And within those societies, you have even more diversity. People are individuals, and they're going to approach relationships in their own unique ways, regardless of what the dominant societal structure is.
So much for fitting everyone into neat little boxes.
Exactly. Humans are messy, relationships are messy, and trying to oversimplify things like this excerpt does just isn't helpful or accurate.
Okay, but even with all that said, the excerpt does have this one little nugget that I kind of resonate with. It talks about finding a partner who has a more moderate view. Someone who sees the flaws in both the extreme matriarchal and patriarchal perspectives.
I can see that. It's definitely important to find someone who's willing to challenge those rigid, outdated ways of thinking about gender roles.
Right. Someone who's open-minded, flexible, and willing to create a relationship dynamic that works for both people, not just one.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we all want? A relationship where we feel seen, heard, and valued for who we are as individuals?
100%. So for our listeners out there who might be feeling a little lost in this sea of conflicting relationship advice, what's the main thing you'd want them to take away from all of this?
Honestly, I'd say be wary of anyone who claims to have all the answers. Relationships are complex, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. It's about being honest with yourself about what you want and need.
Exactly. And then being brave enough to have those open and honest conversations with your partner about how to create a relationship that works for both of you.
Communication, respect, and a willingness to evolve. Those are the real keys to a lasting partnership.
And maybe a healthy dose of humor, too, because let's be real, relationships can be pretty wild sometimes.
For sure. Okay, here's something I want everyone listening to really sit with for a minute. How much have your own ideas about relationships been shaped by these external forces, these societal expectations we've been talking about? And are those expectations actually serving you? It's a question worth asking ourselves. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.
So, I was just trying to lay out three options of the way the world really is, and they didn't like that I even thought those things to be the case, they being an AI. And that's fascinating because this may take over podcasts. Stay tuned. I'm going to add more of my opinions, my short stories, and give you the results. These sort of podcasts. It's an amazing thing because you can see the limitations of the AI, but at the same time, it's also polling what a certain large set of people think. It's a kind of NPR crowd, granted, and I'm just full disclosure. I'm not on either side. No, not on it. Just trying to sort my way through it. Tell me what you think.